Welcome to the Mum Dem podcast.
By the Mum Dem.
Or the Mum Dem.
Welcome. We are so happy to have you on the podcast today. So this is Yasmin. I will let you introduce yourself and then we have some questions for you.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for accommodating me. So my name is Yasmin, also known as Taylor, and I'm a new mummy to a 5-month-old Venus. And Mars is somewhere outside and she's 3.
Amazing.
Roaming with my twins and Emma's little one.
I know the things we do as mothers, but we're here. So your first question is about how you joined the Mum Dem. So can you tell us a bit about your birth story? So for your first child.
So Mars is a COVID baby, or conceived in COVID, so I didn't really have much to do clearly. And so yeah, she's a COVID baby, took me by surprise. I had a natural birth with her, so just like an epidural, but I had quite a lot of health problems in the pregnancy, especially suffering from like morning sickness and fatigue. And then also like when you are pregnant, having to do blood tests, I found out that I'm like adjacent to like a sickle cell trait. So
me too. Thalassemia.
Yeah, it's like thalassemia. So it just also presented a myriad of problems, which didn't make my first pregnancy nice. And apart from that, she has a different blood group to me. So throughout the whole pregnancy, my body was attacking her like a foreign.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was pretty crap. But she's here now, so it was worth it.
Oh,
That's great.
And was it quite different to Venus?
Venus was worse.
Oh.
Yeah, so this time was like, I thought it was going to be easier because I'm not in COVID, I'm surrounded by support, but I developed gestational diabetes with Venus. My thalassemia wasn't too bad this time, but I was on anti-nausea pills throughout like my whole pregnancy, cyclizine.
I had cyclizine.
Yeah.
wow.
Did it give you migraines?
Yeah, it gave me migraines, which kind of triggered my health anxiety because I thought it was something else. So I'm like constantly going to the hospital thinking like, is there something wrong with me? Da-da-da. And then gave birth to her naturally with no pain relief,
Oh, wow.
which wasn't my plan at all.
Was her birth a lot quicker?
Yes, no, I laboured for a bit more longer, but then I just dilated from like 3 to 7 really quickly, and then she came out. But I think my recovery was a bit more easier because epidural really messed up my back with Mars.
Okay.
But the downside is because I had gestational diabetes, it now means that I'm like borderline type 2 insulin resistance.
Goodness.
Yeah,
Wow.
so it's just like
It's not easy bearing these children.
No,
is
it's
it?
not. Like, I've always said that I feel like my second pregnancy literally broke me.
Oh.
It's just a lot. I'm only 5 months in, so I'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and what are you doing to build yourself back up? You said you feel like it broke you.
Yeah.
So have you been doing anything to...
I have to be careful what I eat now, which is pretty crap.
Okay.
So like drink more water, have a bit more rest. I'm like mostly breastfeeding with her as well, so that obviously helps. So
You're
Yes.
hungry all the time.
hungry all the
It's
time.
like an insatiable appetite,
It's
isn't it?
horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Like, I can't stop eating, but I have to like monitor my blood sugar levels.
Yeah.
And if I eat too much carbs or like sugar, I just get like really sleepy. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a cycle of rubbish.
It's hard being a mum, but there's good things too. So let's
Absolutely.
move on to that. So what's your favourite thing about being a mum?
I would say my favourite thing about being a mum is like, I'm quite biased. I'm so happy I had all girls. Because I come from like an all-girl family. Well, I have one brother, so I'm very happy I have all girls. I also think it's pretty cool raising a human as well in that aspect.
Yeah,
I feel like
absolutely.
whenever people are like, why do you want to be a mum? I was like, I actually want to be a mum because I want to raise a human. So when people are like, oh, like, do you want any more? I'm like, I do not want to raise any more humans.
It's a big responsibility
Yeah.
to bear,
It's a good
isn't
way
it?
to view
It's
it.
like, I don't see the
You're in it for
biological
the whole-
need.
Yeah.
I don't see the biological need to have a third one. Like, when you think of it, like, unless I have twins, cool, but like, why do I want another human?
Because they're so cute.
Yes, this is it though, isn't it? So I'm just like, oh,
That's
God.
how they get you.
Yeah.
Look at her.
It
She's
is. I know. Look at the way she looked at you. You don't want more of me? She is adorable.
She is so cute.
But I understand what you mean because I didn't even think, I just really loved babies. I love babies and I
Yeah.
love kids. But then I realised I've got to teach my kids.
Yeah.
I've got to train them and mold them
Forever.
to not be criminals, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Will be
You
bad
can
people.
tell she's a lawyer. Isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm thinking you need to
Straight
stay
to
on the
the-
right side of the law. But I need to help them, mold them, like give them, ensure they've got the right beliefs, like all of this. And that's the actual hard part for me.
Yeah.
If I could leave like the discipline and all that part to my husband, I would, and I just have fun with the kids and cuddle
You
them.
can't, yeah.
But you can't, and I don't want to raise a wayward kid, so.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
How
but it's-
many non-wayward humans can I feasibly raise?
Basically, yeah. Oh.
Oh, she
Okay.
spit up. Do you need a muslin?
No, okay.
Are you sure?
Are you happy with yourself?
She's like, hurry up, guys. We're going to make this a micro episode.
Yes.
So baby girl does not
She's
get
even
upset.
smiling.
You're happy.
She's happy with
So-
that. She's like, come on, lady.
So we'll go on to our next question.
So we haven't really spoke about what you do, but
Okay.
tell us a little bit about what you do and we'll go from there.
So I work in tech. I work within cloud and AI, so what we call like AI ops. And I currently work as an associate partner within the cloud and finance space.
And you recently got a new job, didn't you?
Yes, associate partner.
So congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
Very
thank
good.
you.
And you're working with a 5-month-old.
I'm
And how are you doing this?
I'm not.
And a 3-year-old.
So I've got an au pair that lives with me,
Amazing.
so that helps.
Yeah.
But it's weird that you ask that because like for like a very long time I've been very passionate about my career and also very passionate about being a mum. But now I'm starting to revision and realign like what do I actually want? The money or the title?
Yeah.
Because when you combine money and title, it's like financial clout. I don't know. But then I think even in the position I'm at, it's like new level, new depth. And there's so many like politics that you face. It's like, do I have the mental resilience and fortitude to go to work, face politics, and then come home and be like a mother as well? And so I think it's like working in tech is pretty cool, especially in leadership. The money is great. But it's also like when you realize that the money you make is what's feeding your kids, and knowing that going to work in like a white male dominated industry, all it takes is one white person to not like you. It's like, can I keep on being in an environment where I'm like constantly a victim to like prejudice or bias?
Wow, yeah.
So I'm just literally just like, oh, okay, like.
It's tough, isn't it? Because you have to consider all of these things, and then you're raising these humans that you want to raise well.
Yeah.
And it's like, what am I teaching them, as well as how am I spending my time, and what does that teach them in how I spend my time?
Yeah, there's
It's
a level
so
of guilt as well, because it's
100%,
just like
yeah.
people look at me crazy, like, how are you going to work when she's 5 months? And I'm like, I'm very transparent. I actually started like micro contracting at 9 weeks with her, and I absolutely flopped. Like I can't remember anything at work because I'm like sleep deprived. I'm like, let me just stop. Let me not affect my professional integrity. Went back at 5 months, and it's pretty cool. It's fine at the moment, like it's going well. But there is an aspect of like mum guilt. But I also feel like it helps with like any postpartum anxiety or depression because I'm like distracted.
Yeah.
And you've worked across tech. You've worked across tech with one child. You've worked across tech with now 2 children.
Yeah.
Which is pretty incredible to think of the amount of experience you've accumulated in tech, which is a difficult, very male-dominated field as a mum. So what's it really like for Mum Dem working in tech?
Do you know what? When I had my daughter in COVID, so I've always worked, even before COVID, to the point where I want to build enough professional integrity that I can work at home. So back in the day or pre-COVID times, you can only work at home if you like were a director or senior manager because you're trusted to be alone and know what you're doing. But then when COVID came and remote work came, it's like you can just be a junior or whatever. So I do feel like I was able to advance my career in COVID as well because I didn't have to deal with going into the office.
And the politics.
But now it's like being a mother, I feel like I'm actually a mum for the real time now. Because companies are like, okay, yeah, we have to come in once a week. And you're like, oh, okay. Came in once a week was absolutely broken because she might not sleep in the night. So I always say like to a lot of women that want to join tech, I think apart from the money being quite lucrative, what was appealing was one, as a woman of colour, having the ability to be remote meant that you can like hide yourself from like workplace politics. And also, regardless of whether you're a woman of colour, working remotely meant that you can literally just not switch on your camera, breastfeed with the camera off, and you're on the call.
All done that,
and you're just smashing it, right?
Yeah.
But now it's like, if they actually want people to come in 3 days a week, for 3 days a week of childcare for her costs me £1,500 a month. No, that's a lie. 1,200. For Mars, because she's a bit more older, it costs £500. That's almost 2K in child. Then that's not also kind of like taking into consideration travel. Then she might not sleep in the night. So it's just, I feel like getting into tech now as a mum is very hard. The best option is to find something remote. But now it's like you either have to make a lot of money in tech for it to be worthwhile, but it is going to be quite a struggle kind of being an entry-level person again. Because you're earning the money but have to spend it on childcare.
Yeah, it feels that way in most industries.
Yeah.
That the odds are kind of
Would
stacked
agree.
against you for mums.
for mums.
But in
always.
tech, there's a lot of additional pressure because there's so few women.
Yeah,
And this is even
still.
after a drive to get more women into tech.
It's so bad.
Most of the developers I know are men, including your husband.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Excellent.
I think I've only ever met one female developer. who works with him.
We had another one on the podcast. Although she's moved into AI.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
that's
there
true.
you go.
Yeah.
That's another one.
Yeah, that's true. There you go too.
But yeah, hats off to you because
Thank
it's
you.
not easy at all.
It's not. And I just think if I'm due to retire like at 65, 70, like I'm only like 31, how long can I really keep it going?
Yeah. Don't you think that though? Like, I think the same thing. I'm like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I've got like 40 years.
Another 40 years of this.
Do you know what,
By
though,
then,
guys?
it will probably be 80.
So
Yeah.
this morning I read
True.
something that really changed my view on this because I think I felt exactly this way. Last week, I was saying to my husband, I'm like this close to a young breakdown. Like,
Yeah.
this is because I'm back at work. I've got 4 children. 2 of them are telling me no. They're throwing tantrums. One of them, they are 1. Why? Who taught them why? Who taught why to a 1-year-old? It's just wrong. But this morning, what I read was that the amount of time you spend with your children peaks in your 30s and then drops off, and it drops down to something by your 40s. That, remember, this is averaged out.
Yeah.
And people have kids at different times and different ages. But it averages out to spending under 5 hours a week
Wow.
with young children in your 40s. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, I'm complaining. I'm like, oh, I need some time to myself.
Yeah.
I need some time, like, just with my husband to talk where we don't have the kids. The kids are with us all the time. But then in 5 years, my daughter will be going to high school. She'll want to spend time with her friends.
Yeah.
For 5 years, that's gonna go so quickly.
Yeah.
And then my son's gonna follow. I don't have that. I mean, my twins are 1, so obviously I've got a little bit longer. But it's gonna get to the point for all of us where it changes. And I was speaking to my mentor. She's got older children, and she said from about 10, you suddenly become just their taxi service because they can't travel by themselves. And then by about 11 or 12, that gets outsourced to TFL, or you get them Ubers or other parents. And actually,
they go in Ubers by themselves at 11, 12.
If they're in groups, sometimes apparently,
Wow.
yeah. Some parents, I don't know that I'm doing that, but some people do.
The
And the maybe there's an adult in the car with them.
Yeah.
I didn't ask many questions because I'm happy to chauffeur my kids around. But in any case, it gets to a point where you're scheduling in time to see your kids, and it made me think of how when we were teenagers we saw each other all the time. Like we're just in each other's houses, you're all in each other's spaces. Now I have to schedule a meeting with Amma 1 business month in advance. When the 3 of us get together, we have to plan it, and it's going to be like that with our kids.
It's so weird though, because I feel like we've lost that aspect of neutrality. Like, I just liked when my mum would say, hey mum, we're going to Amma's birthday next week, okay, cool. But now it's like they've got their own iPhones, fill it in the calendar. I'm so close to creating a Jira sprint board for my family, or a scrum meeting.
Sprint, do it.
Because I'm just like, it's just...
We basically have a stand-up in my house where we go through our diaries. So...
You need to have a stand-up.
And the kids join us.
Yeah.
It's just...
We've got a whole big calendar, and we
have
have a digital one.
You didn't put this party in.
And then the Google Home tells them their schedule for the day every morning. So do it. Do the scrum.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Do the sprint.
That's so good.
But yeah, it's very different to how we grew up, isn't it?
Yeah, very different.
But the principle, I think the big thing for me is this shocker of, oh my gosh, same way I saw my friends all the time, and I thought that was normal life and it would always be that way. And that reality seemed so fixed.
Yeah.
And now I have close friends that I see maybe once a year.
Yeah.
Especially with
it's very
COVID.
isolating.
You don't see them for a few years. But take that and apply it to our kids. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, realising how much less...
we're just not going to see our kids.
But I think that's going back to your point when you were talking about how much longer you've got until retirement.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's I'm ready to retire and spend
That's why
time
you
with
want
my
to
children.
use that
I'm
time
ready
now.
to-
Exactly.
I feel like there should be an early retirement.
Yeah.
You retire, you spend the time with your
Absolutely.
kids, and then
We
when they
obviously
go
still
to
have the
high
money.
school,
Exactly.
when
I
they
guess
go
it's
to high
technically
school,
supposed to
you
be
go back to work.
maternity though, innit?
But we don't have money on maternity.
Yeah.
I'm on maternity. Where's my money?
Exactly. But in some
true.
countries, they have maternity
for 3 years.
3
3
years.
years.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
how it
And
should
here,
be.
mothers are going back to work. You might have gone back because you wanted to, but there's
Yeah.
mothers forced to go back to work because financially they can't
need the money.
afford to be off for a whole year.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. Oh, she's so
cute.
adorable.
She is. Look at her.
But it is crazy though that you work until you're 70 or maybe 80 for us, and at that point your kids are grown. Maybe
But
they've
then
We
got
got
their own
grandkids.
kids.
It's horrible though, innit? Because you're working till 80. Who lives really past 85? Do you know what I mean? So then you've got
My
5 years of freedom.
grandma's 95. So
Oh,
I'm
well
hoping.
done to Auntie. Okay. But even then, it's like
I know, but yeah, it is rare. Exactly.
It is very rare.
It is rare.
Yeah.
So hopefully.
Yeah.
But,
And to be fair, my other grandma, she passed away. I think she was in her late 60s.
Oh,
Early 70s.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking she was old, and then the older I get, I'm like, my Oma was a baby. She was so young. And now that my mother-in-law has reached
her age,
her age,
that
I'm like, but
wait a
she's
minute.
young and sprightly, and
that's what
so
happens.
you don't know how it's
Yeah.
gonna go.
Yeah. Well, another question I just thought was, as we were talking about children and technology, and we'd asked another previous tech expert, but it'd be interesting to hear your view as well on just how you navigate the space of technology and children. Like, I don't know, how much tech do you introduce to your children, or what's your plan for that? And do you think it's safe? Is it not safe? What do you think?
So my daughter's like really good at using the Mac. So she watches something called like YouTube Shorts. So she's really into like watching other kids play.
Okay.
Which I'm okay with.
Ryan's World.
Yes. But I don't really allow her. We don't have like Google or Alexa in the house and stuff like that, because a part of me is like, as somebody who works in tech, I want to be tech conscious.
Okay. So it's so interesting that both our tech experts don't have Alexa and Googles, and we have all of them.
Yeah, I just want to be tech conscious. Yeah,
I'm learning.
I want to be tech conscious.
Your husband also works in tech.
I know, but he's like
I'm tech adjacent.
Yeah.
I just feel like Google have all my data. They know everything already.
That's what I think.
And they've got so much data on me that it almost makes me feel safer, because I'm like, you're not really going to sit and sift through all my conversations. So spy on everything. It's fine. I don't mind.
I'm like,
if you're going to make my life easier.
From a tech perspective, I'm like,
I
want to use Alexa or Google, but then it's like, I need to understand the cybersecurity frameworks behind it. How easy can it be hacked and stuff? So it's like, when I kind of clock that, and
it's the people.
Maybe hack it small, then I'm like, okay, cool.
You're like, let me try, see what I can do.
Let me try like jailbreak my own house.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's how I think.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Especially with like webcams, not webcams, but like children cams.
Yeah.
Like if it's connected to the Wi-Fi.
I don't know why that scares me.
I've seen so many crazy videos.
So many crazy videos and documentaries and all.
So I'm just like,
you're conscious.
Let me just wait
and
a
then
bit.
how about with AI? So do you let Mars interact with ChatGPT or any other LLMs?
Would you let her when she's older?
No. Do you know why? Because I know that there are some tech experts that kind of like create kids stories on ChatGPT, but I also want her to grow up understanding the like human mind and her own creativity.
Absolutely.
So if anything, she can be like a mini prompt engineer when she's older, innit? Because she understands how to use her own creativity and what questions to ask. I don't want her to be too dependent on it. So I'm like this close to teaching her maths with an abacus. That's how like old school like
do it.
I want her to be like.
Actually, my kids have an abacus and they love it. It's just a really fun tool.
It's fun, and it's also like they need to like.
It's good for
the other day I had to like rewrite a statement or like parts of like my CV, and I was like, oh, ChatGPT. And when it was down, I was like, oh my gosh, like,
what do
how
I do?
I'm so dependent. I'm like, how do I use it? Like,
no, I completely agree, and I think that is a danger of some of this tech and this AI, because even for me as a teacher, a few years ago, I would be writing. So say I'm teaching my children to write a story that builds suspense. I would normally do a model text, type it out myself. But because I've got AI now, I'll be like, AI, create this, add some parentheses, add some add some oxymorons. I'd tell it what to add, and it would create it for me. And it is true. Like, you don't want children to grow up not knowing that they can do all this in their brain. They are so creative, and the stories they can make. But it's scary how good AI is getting, and how like the things it creates. I'm like, I was thinking like that. That was what I would have written. Like, that's so weird that it's. So I definitely get that.
I think I just want them to like depend on not like the Bible, but lean on your own understanding.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, we've got these tools, we need to use them, and not.
They need to like use their imagination as kids as well,
which is important for their growth as well.
Yeah, exactly. If you think about the world we grew up in and how it has changed. Crazy. It is actually crazy. Like, I remember
we're the last ones that are going to remember all those things.
I remember being knocked for and just being allowed to play out up and down my street. Do you know what I mean? I remember not having phones. And if you wanted to meet someone,
remember
it was...
you still use a floppy disk. I think.
Exactly.
Floppy disk. Like my I think my year, I graduated in 2014. I saved my dissertation on a floppy disk. And I wrote my dissertation by going to the library and referencing different books.
That's exactly how I wrote mine.
It's like...
Well, how do they reference them?
By books.
Well, they're still supposed to, but
I thought
people are asking ChatGPT for reference lists.
And there's websites you can go to
knowing
do
that I passed my degree from my mind.
Exactly.
Not like
you did the thinking,
but not like
not a computer robot.
ChatGPT and like
can you imagine if ChatGPT?
You have doctors passing on.
I can only imagine the amount of people that get their degrees using AI now. Like I know someone that it's a friend of a friend who used ChatGPT to create a whole business idea, a whole business plan, do the risk assess, everything, budget, all on AI. So
that's wow.
Yeah.
Do you know what though? You say this, but I sit on a lot of different funding panels. Both mostly in the startup world, some in the charity space, and I've done a couple recently. I'm not going to name which. I don't want to put anyone up. But I will say that the ones I've done this year, and this year it's been the first time this is an issue, because last year ChatGPT was around, but people didn't really know about it.
Exactly.
This year, half the applications are trash, and you can tell they're written by ChatGPT.
Right.
So I don't think that, and also a lot of universities are, as well as their plagiarism checks, turn it in and whatnot, they're doing checks for whether chatbot has been used, or like whether people are using an LLM. There's Gemini as well. There's other options, and what I found is it's really obvious because the way that things are phrased, the lack of like critical thinking there, things are just being spat out.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't make sense. So I'm like, can I even say this? There was one that I judged.
I'm so laughing.
And I'm going to give an analogy. It would be like saying, we're offering vegan milk because we're treating the cows really nicely. It made no sense at all. It was like, no, milk from a cow is not vegan. It was that level.
Oh, okay. So
it was another thing I'm not going to say.
Milk.
But it
milk
was
is natural anyway.
But it's vegan.
No, it's vegan milk from a cow.
Because the cows are being treated nicely. That's
then it shouldn't come from cows at all.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what ChatGPT will spurn out because you said to it, "I want to start a vegan business or whatever,"
and it
does. Yeah, and it does.
Yeah. But what sells well? Milk sells well. Yeah. So just call
it sounds
vegan.
Cool. It sounds cool. I'll buy it. It doesn't know.
Well, there you go. So maybe I should have given it a higher score. But yeah, I've seen a lot of that. Hopefully, our kids will just have access to libraries.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, and hopefully
probably in VR headsets.
Have them being funded.
Do you know what though? My kids, I do have a little Oculus and the Quest 2. It's great. I'm thinking of getting the 3, and my kids like it, but they don't play with it that often.
Really?
And actually, I don't have a TV in the house, but I have got a wall of books, literally floor to ceiling, whole wall of books, and then there's like a shelf that's like board games, and it's gotten to the point where the kids have just started to get games, and they would just play games or just like get out a puzzle.
Yeah,
they were playing Go Fish the other day.
Oh my gosh, I used to love
I love it.
I can remember because I haven't played it for so long. No, it's the card game. Go Fish. And then they were teaching me the rules. This is obviously the 7-year-old.
By the way, your son also beat me at Uno like 7 times back to back. I was like, you must be cheating now. I was like, come on.
He figures this stuff out. Yeah. So I used to play a lot of games with him, and the reason I don't have a TV is because I don't want to rely on it in my parenting, just have it on all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can be lots of people. You're a good parent with a TV, but I know how I am. Should we wrap up so you can do another joke?
No, she's fine. She just
But I do find that if you just leave things and make them accessible, the kids will figure it out. So I'm teaching my daughter to code. I'm teaching her these skills. We're starting with scratch, so she's made a little game and she's learned to record stuff. And she can do it. When I started, she couldn't read, which is so funny. She was 5 and she asked me how she could build something, and I was like, cool, I'll teach you to code. Now she's 7, so she can read properly and it's more fun. But she's also doing stuff, and I'm like, I didn't teach you that. And it's like my son being able to just play Uno. I taught him other games.
Their own little AI.
Just pick it up. And that's why I get why you're like, I'm not going to let them have ChatGPT, because instead of them being like, oh, I'm picking a book from the shelf, I'm doing this, I'm going to play with dirt and figure it out, they'll just let the AI do the thinking
for them. They need the critical
thinking. We need human intelligence, not just artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Which is built on humans.
Yeah. And on that note, are there any final things that you think parents should consider about AI and technology when raising their kids?
Yeah.
don't let technology or AI raise your kids, because the reason why, so we see ChatGPT as a black box. The reason why you're able to kind of like get certain information or have it tuned out in a certain way is because it's collecting data from everybody else, and hence why there's such a big thing about the ethics of AI, because it's basically gathering the truths, the lies, the prejudices, the biases. So if you allow your children to be raised by AI, they are going to be raised by the worldviews that may not be aligned to your culture or your morals. So you can use it as a guideline, but I would only really use it in the context of education. I wouldn't use it for like personal things. I know people that use ChatGPT for like relationship advice, because they take the information from like Reddit or from TikTok and just jumble it all together. That's just basically what it is. It's social media.
It's just scraped the internet.
Sat in a black box, in a vacuum. So even in regards to some companies, what they're doing is they want to create the concept of their own ChatGPTs, but only define it to that company. Because if you like work in consulting, you can easily create a presentation, slideshow, or business plan in ChatGPT, but you also run the risk of legally exposing the data and intricate details of other companies. So if employees or companies have that risk, how much more your kids if they're just typing things to know about things.
Wow. That's a very good point.
I hadn't even thought about that. So thank you so much, Yasmin.
Thanks for coming. And we have a little gift for you.
Oh, thank you.
And it's from our season sponsor, and that's Leha Beauty. So open it up, have a look, see what you think.
Yellow. I hardly wear yellow. Actually, today I'm a bit cheetah girl. Oh, what is this?
So this is the Summer Glow Bundle from Leha. So you've got the Idan oil, which is coconut oil. It's cold pressed. And it has tuberose flower, so it smells amazing.
Is this for hair or?
Everything. It's multi-use. This is all about sustainable beauty, so products you can use for lots of things.
Nice.
I put it on my body over shea butter, which is also in there.
Like
Gold shea butter, layering. Or slugging. They call
I love
it.
it. Thank you guys so much. I love even the little. Can it be a collection?
Cute, isn't it?
Yeah, collection. And then you've also got some soap, some black soap, and some gold shea butter from Nigeria.
I love this. Thank you so much, girls.
Have a smell. Doesn't it smell good?
How do you pronounce it?
Leha.
Leha. And it's a Yoruba name?
Yes.
Ooh, it smells so rich.
Right?
I'm layering up this summer.
Layer up.
I use it on the kids actually.
Yeah.
It's great for the kids.
Great for the kids. Yeah, been using it on my baby.
Yeah.
How's
I
your
used it
baby?
on my 7-year-old.
7 months.
Are you on maternity then?
I am on maternity.
So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
For those listening, thank you for joining us for this show. Please like and subscribe, and we will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
This has been the Mum Dem podcast
with Amma,
Rachel,
and Kamilah.
Please like and subscribe and follow along for more wholesome content.
Thanks for listening.
One thing I'm so passionate about is self-care for mums. I mean, we work so hard and we deserve some rest and relaxation.
That's why we're really excited to announce that we've chosen Leha Beauty as our season 1 sponsor for the Mum Dem podcast.
Leha Beauty have African roots and they're quintessentially British, just like us.
The products are sustainable, they're ethical, they use really cool ingredients like shea butter from Nigeria, from a cooperative where the women who make the shea butter are actually paid properly, and coconut oil. And coconut oil has this tuberose flower. The thing that I really love about the coconut oil is it's solid at room temperature. So it forces you as a mum to slow down. So when I'm having a busy morning and I'm like, I just need a bit of coconut oil, I have to either run it under hot water, put it in the shower with me, or just like put it in a little bath in the sink. And it actually gives me an opportunity to stop, to just have a couple of minutes of calm, which feels like a luxury when you're a mum.
Absolutely. Leha, you have done so well on this one, because from the second you open the box, the smell is just like
divine.
It's like a breath of fresh air, and it forces you to just sit with your products and enjoy your products and relax. And yeah, you've done an amazing job, Leha. So we just want to say a big
thank you.